Breakthrough Metabolism. Introduction. I won't bore you too much with the details of my life story. I want this book to be about you and the success that you can achieve through this diet and lifestyle. Growing up, I was an athlete. I played soccer, basketball, participated in karate and gymnastics, and was generally active. I went on to play soccer and basketball in college. During that time, my workout regime was pretty great. Being a soccer player, I was lean and had great endurance. I lifted weights 3 times a week and was explosive and flexible at the same time. This all happened by no real planning of my own. I just trained like an athlete. I jumped, sprinted, lifted weights and trained in intervals by default on the soccer field. After I graduated from college, I ran into what many former athletes do. What do I do with my competitive spirit now that I'm done playing sports? So, I did what many athletes that I knew were doing. I took up running. It was a great way to pass the time and to keep in shape, or so I thought. I was running a minimum of 3 miles per day, oftentimes more. I was lifting weights but not as regularly. What happened to my body in this time? Looking back, it's very easy to see. I became slower, more flabby and soft. Even though I didn't have a lot of body fat, I didn't look lean and athletic, and I had much less energy. After a few years of working as a personal trainer, I was getting back into the gym, lifting weights and doing some different things with my nutrition. I was also taking a very close look at my clientele and what their situations were like. As it turns out, the majority of people were coming in with very similar situations. Here is what most new clients were telling me. I usually do cardio for about 30 to 45 minutes. I don't do any strength training. This is usually because of feelings of intimidation, lack of knowledge, or fear of getting bulky. I weigh myself 3 to 4 times per week. I eat cereal for breakfast, a sandwich for lunch, and pasta for dinner. I drink 2 to 3 cups of coffee every day, and I drink 2 bottles of water. I sleep 6 hours a night. I work in an office or a lab for 8 to 9 hours each day. These comments are taken directly from very real clients of mine. This may sound a bit like your lifestyle. You may be wondering what's wrong with this. If you are, then I'm excited for you, because I'm about to open some doors to a lifestyle and a body shape that you never knew existed. You may also be thinking that you understand most of these things are incorrect when it comes to fat loss, but you're not sure how to change them. I'm excited for you too, because you are going to embark on a thrilling journey of fat loss, body reconstruction, and most importantly, lifestyle transformation. Over the last 8 years as a personal trainer and fat loss coach, I have seen a lot of the trends listed above in my female clients. Once I get them in the door and get them to buy into our system of training and learning how to reshape their bodies, the results are amazing. The one thing that is a lingering problem is the nutrition. Why is that? Well, when you commit to a training plan, you have structure, accountability, and someone to guide you with correct exercises, form, and progression along the way. There are lots of ways to screw up your nutrition. There are 23 extras in the day that you're not in the gym and staying accountable to your trainer. There are so many diets and nutrition plans out there. Low carb, high carb, carb backloading, intermittent fasting, paleo, vegan, 5 to 6 small meals each day, ketonic, and the list goes on. I'm not here to bash any type of eating plan or say that one is better than the other. They are all a means to an end and they all work. The problem becomes figuring out which one to choose. Confusion and becoming overinformed can be your biggest problems. Trying to figure out which style of eating works best for you, jumping from one fad to the next and basically just never seeing results. Sounds familiar, right? So why do you stop? Most of the time it's because you don't see any results. How motivating is it to continue on a certain path of eating when you never see changes? Here is where all of that stops. I've spent years researching, testing, tweaking, and developing the most effective and easiest to follow nutrition plan. The best part is that it's designed specifically for women. This is not a men's nutrition plan developed by a man and then edited for the goals of a female. This is your ticket to the badass, sculpted body that you've always wanted but never knew how to get. Here is your roadmap to success. We all hear about how nutrition is close to 80% of the battle when you want results. So why don't people do it right? They usually just don't know what to do. Now you can eliminate all of that. Simply follow the plan outlined and get ready to transform your body into the ultimate badass. Problems that most women have. Before we begin this program, I need to address some of the problems that most women are struggling with. This has come from years of researching and training clients, primarily women ages 25 to 45. As we get older, our metabolism slows down. That's just a fact of life. Oftentimes there are issues at work well before we hit that dreaded age of 30. I know this has happened to you. It might even be happening to you right now, hence you reading this book. You work out, you eat right, and you are doing all the right stuff, but the fat is just not coming off. We're going to fix that once and for all. I'm going to be blunt in this section of the book. It's not my nature to beat around the bush, and with my training clients I take the same approach. I'm going to tell you right now that your training is probably not intense enough. Doing too much cardio and your eating is not as healthy as you think it is. Don't worry, because all of that will be fixed by simply following the plan in later chapters. What happens when you get that pretty under control and still not seeing the results that you want? These are the major reasons women are not getting results. 1. Too much cardio. 2. Not enough strength training, and specifically not enough heavy lifting. 3. Eating too many carbs and not eating them at the right times. 4. Eating low-calorie processed foods instead of nutrient-rich, real foods. 5. Calorie restriction for too long. We also need to look a little deeper at some of the physiological functions, or lack of functions in some cases. Here are just some of the struggles that women encounter, and most of them you don't even know about. 1. Elevated estrogen levels. 2. Low testosterone levels. Yes, this is important. 3. Adrenal fatigue. 4. Elevated cortisol. 5. Poor insulin sensitivity. 6. Inflammation. 7. Poor digestion. What do all of these things mean? Do you have all of them? Maybe. A lot of these problems go hand in hand, and the remedies can cover a lot of the bases for you. All of the above issues are hormone-related. Your hormones are responsible for many different processes and functions in the body. Hormones are like messengers in your body that give orders to your cells for particular functions. They are chemicals that are manufactured by glands and released into the bloodstream. Most hormones are produced by organs called ductless glands, endocrines, and these include the 2 adrenal glands, the pituitary gland, the 4 parathyroid glands, the sex glands, and the thyroid gland. Various endocrine glands secrete hormones into the blood, which carries them through the body. When a hormone arrives at its target organ or tissue, a certain action takes place. Hormones are grouped based on the functions that they control: the way the body uses food, growth, sex and reproduction, the regulation of the composition of blood, the body's reaction to emergencies, and the actual control of hormones themselves. Most human hormones can be divided into 2 groups: steroid and amino acid-based hormones. Let's get into each of the issues individually. Estrogen is the female sex hormone and is a steroidal hormone, which means it readily diffuses across the cell membrane. Estrogen is present at all times in women, but it's significantly higher during the reproductive age. It promotes sexual characteristics and is involved in aspects of regulating the menstruation cycle. Women need estrogen, but levels are often too high. Here are some other structural changes often brought about by the presence of estrogen: increase in fat stores, reduction in bone resorption, increase bone formation, reduction of muscle mass, salt and water retention, sudden estrogen withdrawal, Fluctuating estrogen or periods of sustained low levels can cause significant mood-lowering. Body fat stored around the chest and hips. Testosterone is the male sex hormone, the counterpart to estrogen. Even though men are always looking to increase their testosterone levels and it is seen as a very manly thing, it's necessary for women as well. This hormone is responsible for building muscle and also aids in the fat-burning process, which is why it's important for women. Adrenal fatigue is very simply, your body is overworked, overstressed and overtired. The adrenal glands control most of what goes on in your body, and when that is taxed, nothing will be working correctly. Think of this as a system short-circuiting. Losing body fat when your system is fatigued and damaged is next to impossible. Cortisol is known to most people as the stress hormone or the belly fat hormone. This is a nasty issue as most women today are dealing with a lot of stress and have trouble winding down to relax. The most common characteristic of high cortisol is extra fat around the belly area. Insulin sensitivity is one thing that most women don't even think about when they are struggling to lose fat. This means that your ability to tolerate carbohydrates is weak and dysfunctional. If you are unable to tolerate carbs, this leads to extra body fat. Most women who are lean enough can tolerate some carbohydrates, especially post-workout, without an issue. However, for the general population this is not the case, thus leading to the thought that carbs are the enemy. In this book he'll teach you how to fix this. Inflammation is most often caused by an improper diet. I'm talking about the inflammation of your organs, joints, muscles, everything. This can make you look and feel a lot older than you actually are, and it will really put a damper on your training and recovery. Remember, better training sessions equals better results. The biggest culprits in today's diets are corn, sugar, dairy, soy and grains. These are often things that women consider to be healthy, but they are just doing more harm than good. If your body is inflamed, not only will your training be awful, you will walk around looking puffy and worn out. Poor digestion is a huge factor when it comes to fat loss, but it's another one that is severely overlooked. If your body can't break down and process the food that it's taking in, nothing will function properly. This can lead to fat gain, skin breakouts, immune system deficiencies and an overall feeling of fogginess. Okay, so these sound like some pretty bad problems, right? Yes, they are. And most of the time you aren't even aware of them. I'm not writing about this to scare you and to get you to fire up WebMD to start freaking yourself out, but I want you to start implementing some very simple lifestyle tweaks which will help improve all of the problems I listed above. As you will soon see, a lot of the remedies are going to cover many of the issues, and once you get these things in place in your life and combine them with the training and nutrition we discuss in this book, you'll be looking leaner, more cut and more badass than you can ever imagine. How to fix your sad, broken metabolism. After reading all of the issues in that last chapter, I'm sure you're eager to figure out how to fix them. Remember, you may not have all of the problems, but a lot of them are related, and once you clean up one thing you can significantly improve other functions. How to fix low estrogen levels. First and foremost, drop body fat. Eat grass-fed meat, cage-free eggs and wild-caught fish. Avoid large amounts of beer and detox your liver. All estrogen compounds pass through the liver, and if the liver is messed up from too much booze, you will have an excess. Avoid soy products. Get 8 to 9 hours of sleep per night. How to increase testosterone levels, to lose body fat. Eat adequate amounts of omega-3s. Avoid traditional cardio training, as this has been shown to increase cortisol and cause testosterone levels to dip. Limit training sessions to 45 to 60 minutes. Perform 3 to 4 days per week of strength training with taxing loads. Perform 2 to 3 days of high-intensity conditioning such as sprints or hill sprints. Get 8 to 9 hours of sleep per night. How to improve adrenal fatigue. Get 8 to 9 hours of sleep per night. Never train to failure. Lower your stress. I know, easier said than done, Interpunct, limit your caffeine to 1 to 2 cups of black coffee each day. Interpunct, take 1 to 2 grams of vitamin C each day. How to lower cortisol levels. Interpunct, limit your training sessions to 45 to 60 minutes. Interpunct, avoid steady-state cardio for long durations. This has been shown to increase cortisol levels. Interpunct, lower your stress. Give yourself 10 minutes each day to shut down and relax and think. No phones, computers or anything electronic. Interpunct, get 8 to 9 hours of sleep each night. Interpunct, cut all gluten products out of your diet. How to improve insulin sensitivity. Interpunct, lower your body fat below 22%. Interpunct, keep carbohydrates low during the day and only consume them at night on your heavy strength training days. You'll learn all about this in the upcoming chapters. Interpunct, avoid gluten, soy, wheat, grains and sugary foods. How to reduce inflammation. Interpunct, reduce stress. Interpunct, get 8 to 9 hours of sleep each night. Interpunct, practice intermittent fasting and keeping your carbohydrates low for 16 to 20 hours each day. Interpunct, avoid grains, soy, legumes, wheat and dairy. How to improve digestion. Interpunct, practice intermittent fasting, 16 hours, to give your system a break from processing food. Interpunct, eat only 2 to 3 meals each day. Interpunct, use probiotics. Interpunct, drink plenty of water, at least 1/2 to your pound body weight in ounces. Interpunct, consume more water while you're eating, wait until after. Typical dieting myths that you need to avoid. Interpunct, breakfast is the most important meal of the day. I have no problem with breakfast. All of breakfast foods. Breakfast is an important meal, you just won't be eating it first thing in the morning. Right now my breakfast is anytime between 12 and 1 p.m., my first meal of the day. During an entire night of fasting your body is in prime position for burning fat first thing in the morning. Your insulin levels are low, which puts your body in a great position to use fat as fuel. If you eat first thing in the morning you are spiking your insulin, even if you are eating a protein-based meal, and thus stopping that fat-burning train in its tracks. Growth hormone levels are also high first thing in the morning, but again, only if you keep the insulin levels low. Growth hormone is the powerhouse fat-burning hormone. One other sneaky hormone that can actually help you out at this time of the day is cortisol. Most people think of cortisol as the stress hormone, and that it can lead to belly fat from a variety of reasons, including stress, overtraining with cardio, diet and sleep. In the morning, however, cortisol is your friend. It will help break down body fat by increasing the release of fatty acids to be used for energy. Interpunct, you need to eat every 2 to 3 hours. I think everyone has fallen victim to this old school rule. I'm not here to dispute that eating every few hours can work. I've done it and it did work for me, but I became a slave to my food, and you can only maintain eating 6 meals of 200 calories for so long. For our purposes of creating a lean, beast mode body, we will be completely eliminating the frequent eating because the costs outweigh the benefits over the long term. If you look back in history, the warriors and hunters of our past were not sitting down to eat every 3 hours. They were working, hunting and fighting off predators. Fast forward through the years of bodybuilders and Olympic athletes in the 40s and 50s. They were eating 3 times per day. As supplement and food companies evolved in the 70s and 80s, the notion of eating every 3 hours to stoke your metabolism became the norm. It was all about selling products. So what does that mean for you? Eating every few hours is a pain in the neck. You have to pack a day's worth of food, bring it to work, drop what you are doing to get your 3-hour snack in between meals, time your lunches no matter what you are already doing, and your body is now completely reliant on that timing of food. You're actually not hungry, you have just trained your body to believe that you are. Physically, it's also very demanding on your digestive system. Your system never gets a chance to rest, and your liver gets so overwhelmed with toxins that it can't metabolize fat properly. Even if you're eating healthy foods, it's still extremely taxing and not worth the long-term punishment and eventual slowing of your metabolism. Your body will go into starvation mode if you don't eat for a long period of time. This is another myth brought about by food and supplement companies to sell more products and get you on board with fancy protein shakes and snacks to keep your metabolism up during meals. Your body can go long periods of time without food, and most often it creates a more productive, clear and healthy mindset. Physically, your energy levels are higher because your body has not shifted into the parasympathetic mode of digesting food. You will not lose muscle and start to store fat due to a slowing of your metabolism. Recent studies show that your body can maintain a steady metabolic rate with no issue for as long as 92 hours of fasting. Carbs will make you fat. Any food eaten in excess can lead to increased body fat. Carbohydrates are not the enemy. Specifically here we will be focusing on eliminating grain, white carbs and most dairy sugars. Carbohydrates are necessary for brain and body functions, but you need to be sure you're eating them at the right times and paired with the right macronutrients. More on this in later chapters. Any excess carbohydrates that are not burned as fuel can be stored as fat, but with correct timing, training sessions and daily fasting you will never have this issue again. Fat will make you fat. This was the fad of the 80s and early 90s. Low-fat diets were king and we saw how that turned out. America is now one of the fattest countries in the world. Just like carbohydrates, any excessive calories can lead to fat gain, but the key is to pair your macronutrients up correctly and keep your daily intake at the correct amount. Fat is a healthy source for energy. It aids in digestion and brain functioning and provides insulation for our organs. It's also quite tasty in the form of nut butters and avocado. Your body can only digest a certain amount of protein. This is another myth that you'll hear from the 22-year-old kid selling you worthless supplements at GNC. Protein intake is dependent on your body weight, lean tissue and your workouts, but the body does not have a digestion limit. The one factor we will look at with this program is that protein does spike insulin, so we need to be aware of the nutrient timing to ensure we keep insulin levels low during the day. That just means keeping protein under 20 grams during the early eating phase. Again, more on this later. Eating after 7 p.m. will cause you to gain weight. Eating too much will cause you to gain weight, fat. If you eat a ton during the day and then a ton after 7 p.m., you will get fat. With correct timing of your food intakes and fasting periods, you will see that you can eat large amounts of food late into the evening and actually get leaner and more ripped. What is fasting and why it works? Intermittent fasting is a concept that has been highly discussed over the last few years. It has also been challenging all of the norms and the typical, eat every 2 to 3 hours to stoke your metabolism, theory. I'm not here to debate the merits of the different types of diets. As I mentioned earlier in this chapter, they are all a means to an end. When you are on a diet, you are trying to get to an endpoint. That endpoint is different for different women. Some are trying to lose a good deal of weight, some are trying to reshape their bodies and add some lean muscle, and some are trying to lose that stubborn fat. More about this lovely gem later in the book. Most diets work if you put in the work. The problem becomes when you then try something different. Your body reacts in a variety of ways, most commonly to put back on the weight that you lost during your dieting phase. That sucks, as we've all experienced that, because you can't sustain a typical diet forever. That's all about to change. Enter intermittent fasting. This concept and nutrition plan is a diet, of course, but it's a lifestyle. Many people that I have coaching, and myself included, have been integrating intermittent fasting for years and with incredible results. You'll see some case studies on this later in the book as well. Before I get into the science and exact concepts of intermittent fasting, I want you to think about your childhood and children in general. They actually have it right. Do kids eat every 3 hours, by the book, getting in their protein and healthy fats at every sitting? Nope. Kids are intermittent fasters by nature. I remember as a kid I would wake up and have a small breakfast before school or before camp in the summer. Then I would eat lunch, and that was pretty small too. The biggest meal was at night, with the family, After practice and games and whatever else we had going on. Maybe I had a snack before soccer practice, but everything was small. I wasn't concerned with the timing of my food, and typically I just ate when I was hungry. Now with this program and intermittent fasting there is a bit more science involved, but the point I'm trying to make is that as adults we have become so caught up in eating at the right time and shoving nutrients into our faces every 3 hours, but with what result? Are people any leaner than they were 20 to 30 years ago? No way. We're actually bigger, unhealthier, more stressed, more fatigued, suffering from inflammation, diseases and a lower quality of life. I don't know about you, but that don't sound too appealing to me. I would rather feel free from food and actually enjoy it when it comes across my plate instead of eating when I'm not even hungry because someone says I need to get in protein every 3 hours. I'd also like to be able to reap the benefits of a nutrition plan that allows me to get leaner, have more energy, clarity, mental focus, and will rid my body of the inflammation that most people don't even know they have, and will improve my workouts and overall quality of life. For several months, very recently, I followed a pretty strict diet plan. Earlier in 2011 my training business was taking off. I was opening a new training facility and getting that up and running. I was training and eat right, but it just wasn't the same intensity, and with everything going on with the business I noticed that I was getting a little bit soft. So I got myself set up on a fat loss plan where I was eating 6 times per day and just about 200 calories at every sitting. Guess what happened? I lost fat fast. I also lost muscle and energy. Did this diet plan work? Sure it did, but after several months, even though my body was looking great, I was kind of miserable. I had a food scale out at all times. I couldn't enjoy meals out with friends, and when I went to hang out at my best friend's house she had to cook me separate meals. That was very nice of her, but that's not a life that you can live for very long. I was feeling chained to my food. It was all about eating, and the next 2 hours and my body became such a robot to that lifestyle. As I said, it worked and I lost close to 10 pounds of body fat, but I knew it couldn't go on forever if I actually wanted to enjoy myself. That was when I started experimenting with intermittent fasting, and from there I developed this system that can simplify your life and allow you to enjoy food and reap the benefits of a fat loss plan that will get you lean, ripped, and boost your energy levels along the way. I don't know about you, but I have noticed a trend in most nutrition and diet books these days. They're all geared toward men and have just a little side note that these tactics can be used for women as well. Then you have to sift through all the mass building, calorie loading plans to get to how it might actually work for you. Or they might have a separate section for women that's just a few pages and maybe a woman's workout mixed in with all the mass building, bodybuilding split workouts. Not here, my friends. This is written 100% for women, from a woman's point of view, and tested and tweaked for years by women. This is the best of the best, but don't you worry, this is no pink weightlifting, salad eating plan. You are going to get lean, ripped, and badass. Just follow the plan and enjoy life. Does this sound good to you too? I hope so. Let's dive in. What is intermittent fasting? The simplest definition is this: alternating periods of not eating, your fasting period, with periods of eating, feeding period. The windows of each can vary depending on the plan that works best for you and also depending on the day. Generally speaking, 16 to 36-hour fasts are going to work best, but I'm going to give you in-depth strategies on all of these in later chapters. That seems pretty simple, right? Just don't eat for a specific amount of time and then eat and enjoy your food during the feeding window. Yes, it's cool. So why does it work? Why intermittent fasting works? Intermittent fasting is a lifestyle. It has some very important characteristics that relate to long-term weight loss, specifically fat loss. 1. Fasting allows your body to operate in its most efficient state and will in turn stimulate fat-burning hormones and suppress any fat-gaining hormones. 2. Fasting is a lifestyle, not a short-term diet. You can adjust the fasting periods depending on the day, the week, the time that you work out, if you have an important family event or dinner coming up. No matter what the situation, intermittent fasting can work. As long as you hit your macronutrients for the day or for the week, you're all good. During the fasting period, some major hormone players are being manipulated. When you want to lose fat, you must regulate your hormones accordingly. Most people don't know how to do this, and that's why they only see results up to a point. That's not your fault though. This is pretty high-level stuff, but I'm going to make it simple and allow you to manipulate your hormones, the good and bad ones, every single day to make your body a fat-burning machine. During the fasting period, growth hormone, glucagon, insulin and cortisol are all manipulated and will achieve optimum balance. All of these combined will help you reach your metabolic potential and allow for faster fat loss and a better feeling body. Some benefits of hormone manipulation in the fasting phase are: 1. Burning fat. During the fasting phase, growth hormone and glucagon are elevated. This combined with the decline of the hormone insulin will help your body burn fat at a faster rate. 2. Anti-aging. You'll experience an elevation of growth hormone, removal of toxins and an increase in sex hormones that can not only help you feel better but will promote anti-aging. 3. Improved ability to resist fatigue and stress. Cortisol is controlled during a fasted state and the body will become more resistant to fatigue and stress. 4. A more energetic state. Brain neurotransmitters are boosted through blood circulation and increased production of cellular proteins. This promotes energy, alertness and vigor. 10 benefits of intermittent fasting for women. 1. Reduce cravings. With most diet plans, you have trained your body to eat at certain times. You have probably also trained your body to eat certain types of foods. Some starchy food at dinner, a piece of chocolate after dinner because you need something sweet. With intermittent fasting, cravings can be virtually eliminated. When you go through periods of fasting, you are letting go of your obsession with food, eliminating the feeling of having to eat every 2 to 3 hours. Over time, you continue to make smart food choices during your feeding windows, and cravings for sweets, salty foods, whatever your triggers are, will be gone. You'll also see later in this book how you can seamlessly tie in any cravings that you still have right into the meal plan and still lose fat. 2. Less feeling tied to food. As I mentioned in the above section, you have probably tried the standard eating every 2 to 3 hours because that's what keeps your metabolism up. This is a very old school way of thinking, and yes, eating every 2 to 3 hours can work, but to what detriment? Did you feel tied to food? Chained down by the clock, making sure you eat at the right time because all of a sudden totally starving? I've been there, done that. It's awful, and even though I did lose fat when I ate like that, it wasn't a great way of life for me, and I know it's probably not for you either. But if you don't have to pack a cooler full of food to bring to work, you don't have to time your lunch out perfectly if you're going out with coworkers, and you don't have to rush home after the gym to start cooking that last meal of the day. Flexibility is a huge benefit to if, and as you will see in the applied section of this book, you will learn to enjoy food again. 3. Improved production of growth hormone. Losing fat and weight all comes down to eating less calories, right? Yes and no. That's really only half the battle. The other half is the hard part that most women struggle with and they don't even know it. This is the battle of the hormones. In order to really lose fat and keep it off, you must manage your hormones and stimulate the ones that burn fat. The big ticket here is growth hormone. GH has been shown to be the best fat-burning, anti-aging and muscle-building hormone that your body produces. Recent research suggests that you can boost GH production up to 6 times more than average with some short-term fasting. Growth hormone helps your body burn fat and ensures that fat cells don't even form. It helps you build muscle and also helps you look younger. 4. Allows you to control your appetite. How many times have you heard that you need to eat breakfast first thing in the morning, that it's the most important meal of the day. So you start eating breakfast and over time your body starts to feel hungry at that exact time. Then you start getting hungry right before your 10 a.m. snack. Weird, huh? Not so much. Hunger is not so much a physical response but oftentimes a cognitive one that's developed by environmental factors. You are training your body to be hungry and you're manipulating the ghrelin in your body. What is ghrelin, you ask? Just another hormone that needs to be controlled. Luckily, we can do that. Ghrelin is a hormone that's produced in the hypothalamus, kidneys and pituitary gland and synthesized and released by the stomach. It proceeds, predicts your meal times and induces hunger. The ghrelin schedule in your body follows your eating schedule almost to a T, so after a few days of fasting you will change the ghrelin response, thus reducing the hunger feeling every few hours and allowing you to control your appetite. 5. Easy way to reduce calories and overeating, with if you're going to be eating 2 to 3 times each day. With all the factors listed above and your brand new appetite control, you'll be taking in less calories. The other cool thing is that you can manipulate your fasting windows to give you a bit of wiggle room if you went over your daily requirements the previous day. 6. Improve productivity. There are a couple of cool factors at play here. The first is that you are not tied down to food, trying to plan your eating schedule to get in your 6 meals every 2 hours. You can focus on the important daily tasks at hand and you'll get more done. The other factor is that you want to experience the food coma. How often have you gone out for a lunch or even just after your normal meal and you feel sleepy and unproductive? It happens to all of us. With this plan you will eliminate any midday crashes and again, you'll get more done. At first people fear that they will be lethargic and they won't be able to function if they haven't eaten. The exact opposite is true, and in my experience and the experience of my clients, during the fasting phase, productivity, creativity and overall focus is at its highest. 7. Reduce your sugar levels. In order to efficiently and permanently lose fat you need to improve your insulin sensitivity and lower your blood sugar. Eating 5 to 6 times per day does the exact opposite. It decreases insulin sensitivity and increases blood sugar. With if you are lowering your blood sugar, eliminating insulin spikes from frequent meals and improving your ability to process sugars. This allows for more efficient fat burning potential. 8. Improves fat oxidation. Fat oxidation is your body's ability to use stored fats to produce energy. With if you are increasing your body's potential to do just that. This means that when you're burning calories they are coming directly from fat. Cool, huh? When you're fasting you are not adding extra insulin, sugars, to your body like you do with frequent meals. So it gives your body no other choice but to dip into the fat stores for energy. 9. Lowers inflammation and helps you to look younger. Metabolic inflammation is the inappropriate activation of the immune system which can disrupt many of your body's systems and can have severe effects on weight gain. Most Americans suffer from high levels of inflammation and they don't even know it. It drastically reduces inflammation in the body and helps turn your body into an efficient state, able to burn fat and improve immune system functioning. 10. You don't actually feel hungry anymore. I mentioned ghrelin in the sections above. Every time ghrelin is secreted it creates a hunger response. The more you delay this hunger response through if you train your body to handle the hunger-inducing effects of ghrelin. Combine this with the increased levels of growth hormone and you've got a fat-burning furnace of a body ready and waiting. How to integrate into the if and the badass body lifestyle. It's time to learn how to integrate your brand new, badass and totally life-changing lifestyle. This is not a diet or a short-term plan. Sure, you can use it for a tune-up on your body to get lean, ripped and fierce, but once you have all that, why stop? The badass body lifestyle is frankly too cool to stop, and I'm going to show you how to make this like second nature for amazing results and a better quality of life. There are some building blocks and initial concerns that many women have, and well, address those now. Here's how to get started. 1. Give intermittent fasting a try for 3 weeks. That will give you a kickstart and allow your body to adapt. At first it will feel strange and you will have to get past the initial habit hunger that comes from eating every 2 to 3 hours. Don't give up though, after a few weeks you'll start to see results both physically and mentally. 2. Drink lots of water. Water can help curb your appetite when you begin intermittent fasting, plus it actually helps in the fat burning process. You want to shoot for 1/ to your body weight in ounces of water each day. If you weigh 140 pounds you should drink 70 ounces, minimum. 3. Keep yourself busy. Don't try to fast when you're just sitting around watching TV. That will be awful and painful. Make sure you plan your fasts around your busiest days. For me, Monday is a good time for a long fast, and before you know it you won't even think about food. 4. Drink coffee or tea in the morning to curb your hunger and give you a kickstart. I have 1 cup of black coffee every morning along with a big glass of water and I've never felt better. My body gets a little kickstart without the boost of insulin, remember, that slows down fat loss, and the parasympathetic response to food which actually makes you feel a bit tired. 5. Drink water first thing in the morning. As I mentioned above, it will give your brain and body a nice little pick-me-up. After 6 to 9 hours of dehydration your body needs the fluid. 6. Don't tell people about your fasting. Everyone is going to have an opinion and many times it's going to be a negative one. Until you've established a great routine for yourself, just don't talk about it too much. Once people see the amazing body changes they'll start asking you, so then you can talk about how awesome it is. 7. Get out of the house. Being home and bored you'll find too much temptation. This goes along with point #3 about keeping yourself busy. If you are at work, running errands or getting stuff done you will be less likely to feel tempted and frustrated by food. Remember though, this is only in the beginning. Once you establish these habits it's really easy. 8. If don't mean that when you eat, you can eat junk. Make sure once you begin your feeding period you stick to the clean foods. In upcoming chapters you will see the entire plan laid out for you, including what foods to eat and at what times. Initially you will feel really hungry at the end of your fast, so don't give in to temptations. After a few weeks you will actually feel that you can go longer into the fast without food, so breaking the fast won't be such a big deal. Along with this point, make sure that your entire feeding period is made up of the foods that are prescribed. Don't let yourself have just this little piece of whatever the junk food is. Save it for your cheat day and simply enjoy the benefits of clean, healthy food that's going to speed up your fat loss after you kick that fast period's ass. How this program works. Now we'll get into the nitty-gritty and the part that everyone has been skimming the book waiting for. How to actually do the program. The first thing I would recommend is that you go back and really read the introductory material. Get yourself familiar with the concepts and why this will work for you. I made the information very user-friendly and you can easily see how it will apply to you in the real world. This is not a diet and it's not one of the latest fads that you will see die out in a year or so. Here are the basics. 1. You'll eat 4 meals each day. 2. The timing and breakdown of these meals will be discussed in detail later in the book. 3. Skip breakfast. 4. You'll have 16 hours of fasting each day followed by an 8-hour feeding window. 5. You'll have 1 cheat day per week. 6. That cheat day is followed up by a longer fast day. 7. All carbs are eaten in the post-workout window. You will find this plan to be very easy to follow as the daily food intake is minimal and you can focus on being very productive without having to stop to eat every few hours. The other benefit is that your body will never slip into the parasympathetic mode of feeling very tired and sluggish. Instead you'll be operating with your sympathetic nervous system, the fight or flight mechanism. You'll feel energized, focused and productive. During the day you will be eating 1 or 2 light meals, depending on the time of your workout, and during that time the carbohydrates will be limited. Initially your body may feel deprived, but as you go along, this will feel normal and actually quite freeing, because you know that at night you can enjoy a larger, more satisfying meal. This is when the majority of people have more time to eat. You can also enjoy time with the family and with friends without having to feel restricted. The fasting period. The benefits of intermittent fasting have been discussed in the previous chapter. Here I'm going to break down exactly what to do during clarity, where you comprehend that matters have to change. But when you dip into the lower levels, that memory becomes blurred. We have to go along consciously, taking ourselves back to the roots that can help us finish the next leap. Each step calls for different solutions. But you can't hit the greater levels if you haven't surmounted the basics first. Jesus was a carpenter. Gandhi was a lawyer. Buddha was a prince. We all have to begin somewhere. Mind Reality Secrets. This book was distributed courtesy of, for your own unlimited reading and free ebooks today, visit http://www.freeebooks.net. Share this ebook with anyone and everyone automatically by selecting any of the options below, to show your appreciation to the author and help others have wonderful reading experiences and find helpful information too. We'd be very grateful if you'd kindly post your comments for this book here. Copyright information. Freeebooks.net respects the intellectual property of others. When a book's copyright owner submits their work to freeebooks.net, they are granting us permission to distribute such material. Unless otherwise stated in this book, this permission is not passed on to others. As such, redistributing this book without the copyright owner's permission can constitute copyright infringement. If you believe that your work has been used in a manner that constitutes copyright infringement, please follow our notice and procedure for making claims of copyright infringement as seen in our terms of service here. http://www.freeebooks.net/dos.html. It here. With your fasting period, your liver also has a chance to detox. Even if you are eating healthy food, your liver is trained to break down chemicals in both food and foreign materials. Over time this can lead to illness and disease, but with a daily fasting period you will not only feel better but your long-term health will improve. During this fasting period you won't be taking in any food, but you want to be sure to keep your body hydrated. Water is a key element in the fat-burning process. You want to try and drink 1/ to your body weight, in ounces, of water each day. If you weigh 140 pounds you will want at least 70 ounces. During this period, black coffee is allowed as caffeine can help to burn fat and it's also an appetite suppressant. I personally have 1 cup of black coffee every morning before I train and I've never felt better. I'll touch more on this in the later chapters. No other beverages are allowed during the fasting period, and for the most part you should avoid everything but water, tea and coffee during your entire day. Here's a summary of the fasting period. Stop eating anywhere between 6 and 10 p.m. Have nothing but water and coffee in the morning. 1 cup of coffee is ideal. Drink water all day to hit your 1/2 body weight marker. Start your eating period 16 hours after your last meal. During the day, the daily eating period is the beginning of your day, after you break your fast. This will be 16 to 18 hours after your last meal. At first this will be tough because after coming off a long fast period, your body will be craving food. It's important to have your first meal planned out ahead of time so that you don't overeat. The daily eating period will be one of 2 options. If you trained in the morning with weights, your 2 meals will look like this. 1. P plus C, protein plus carbs. 2. P plus C. If you are on an off day, you only did conditioning or you are training at night, your 2 meals will look like this. 1. P plus F. 2. P plus F. For the P plus C meals you want to focus on combining only protein and carbohydrates. It's impossible to keep the fat content at 0, so just focus on keeping it below 10 grams. For the P plus F meals you want to focus on combining only protein and fats. In the same way that you can't keep carbohydrates to 0, focus on keeping them under 10 grams. As you progress in your acclimation of the fasting/feeding cycles, your control will be much better. What should you eat during this time? It all depends on what time you train. The timing of this first meal will just depend on what time you started your fast the night before. For me, the fasts are typically 7 p.m. to 11 a.m. the next day, and that's pretty reasonable for most people, so let's use that as an example. I like to break my fast with a shake because it's simple to make, satisfies my cravings for a bit of protein and fat, and allows me to include a lot of important nutrients. This is recommended but not required. If I train, the shake is higher in carbohydrates, and if I don't, it's a bit lower or none at all. A few minutes before this first feeding, there are a few things that you will want to do to enhance the effectiveness of your fasting period. The first thing is to take a digestive enzyme which will help with all things related to your stomach health that we discussed in the previous chapter. This drink also reduces inflammation in the body, which can hinder your fat loss. And the second item is a greens drink mixed with water. Now I know what you're thinking already. Those greens drinks are straight up nasty. Yes, most of them are, and even though they are loaded with nutrients and serve as a great insurance policy for your nutrition plan, they are much like drinking dirt mixed with water and more dirt. I have the solution for you. The best tasting, most effective greens drink is made by ProGrade, and this stuff is essential. Mix a packet with 8 ounces of water right before your first feeding and you'll be good to go. Even though you do want to eat vegetables with every meal during the day, it's often difficult to get the volume that you need. Here is the link for your ProGrade Genesis Greens drink. This will also be included in the quick start guide along with everything else you need to make this plan a complete success. http://kaliderbrow.getprograde.com/greendrink.html. As I mentioned, the daily eating phase will be slightly different depending on when you train and what you are doing for training that day. Below I am giving you 2 examples of how you should structure your daily eating phase. Most people like to eat twice during this time, and that's a good starting point, but you'll also see an advanced version that includes only 1 meal. If you are fairly new to intermittent fasting and are used to eating several times each day, start with 2 small meals during your under-eating phase. Sample meals, daily eating phase, conditioning or off-day or nighttime training. Use these samples if you are on a non-training day, a conditioning day, or if you are training with weights later in the afternoon or evening. First meal, 1 cup of unsweetened almond milk, 1 scoop of whey protein, chocolate or vanilla, 1 tablespoon of raw cacao powder, 1 tablespoon of chia seeds, 1 handful of baby spinach to 3 ice cubes. Blend in a blender or magic bullet. On off days or conditioning days you can also throw in some frozen fruit for your first meal to give you a small dose of carbs. Second meal, your second meal will most likely be lunch and should come 2 to 3 hours after your above shake. This is going to be a protein and fat-based meal along with veggies. A great option here is a huge salad. All the veggies you can stuff in there, the greener the better, with a protein source on top: chicken, fish, turkey, steak, and an olive and vinegar dressing. Avoid the creamy dressings or anything low-fat, as that equals high sugar. Sample meal plan. Morning training day. Use this meal plan sample if you are training with weights in the morning or late morning. The only difference is a slight bump in your carbohydrates post-workout, but after that you are going right back to low carb. If you are doing conditioning work, then stick to the lower carb options listed above. If you are training in the morning, your fast may be a bit shorter, and that's okay. For example, I typically stop eating at 7 p.m. and there are some days when my training session finishes at 9:30 a.m. so my fast is not 16 hours. That's totally fine because the main goal is to get your post-workout nutrition. This is critical. This is also the beauty of the program. You can be flexible and still read 12 principles above. Read my article, How to Be Confident and Relaxed When Speaking Before a Group of People, Powerful Tips to Help You Become a Highly Effective Speaker/Presenter, if you haven't done so already. You'll find that many of the principles in that article can be applied to life in general. I would like to end this article with a beautiful story I read many years ago. Michelangelo, the world-famous painter, sculptor, and architect, was once asked how he could carve such magnificent statues. And he answered, "The perfect statue is already there within the block of marble. I simply chip away the excess." And so it is with courage. It's already there within you. You only need to create or devise ways, like the ones I shared with you above, to chip away or get rid of any unnecessary fears, worries, apprehensions, etc., so that the courage within you will be unleashed more fully. Gabriel Daniels publishes confidence and courage tips to help you realize your dreams. For tips, strategies, stories, quotes, and more, to empower and inspire you to take action, so you can get what you want out of life, visit his website at http://confidencetips.blogspot.com. You're free to reprint this article in your Resign or newsletter, or on your website, as long as you include this resource box and as long as the article's contents are not changed in any way. For more details, please check the website's license information section. This book was distributed courtesy of, for your own unlimited reading and free ebooks today, visit http://www.freeebooks.net. Share this ebook with anyone and everyone automatically by selecting any of the options below, to show your appreciation to the author and help others have wonderful reading experiences and find helpful information too. We'd be very grateful if you'd kindly post your comments for this book here. Copyright information. Freeebooks.net respects the intellectual property of others. When a book's copyright owner submits their work to freeebooks.net, they are granting us permission to distribute such material. Unless otherwise stated in this book, this permission is not passed on to others. As such, redistributing this book without the copyright owner's permission can constitute copyright infringement. If you believe that your work has been used in a manner that constitutes copyright infringement, please follow our notice and procedure for making claims of copyright infringement as seen in our terms of service here. http://www.freeebooks.net/dos.html. And the best tasting post-workout shake. Have this 30 to 60 minutes after you train. http://kleiderbrow.getprograde.com/pre and post-workout drink.html. Meal 4 P+C. Meal 4 in the sequence is going to be dinner. Many people are terrified to eat carbohydrates at night, but in this nutrition plan, it's critical. The most important time to ingest carbohydrates is in the window after you strength train. In this case, you have eaten 2 P+F meals, then you had your P+C workout shake. Now it's time to have your final meal, which will be P+C. Keep your fat intake below 10 grams here. Here you want to use the same examples that I listed in the earlier section where you were having your P+C as your lunch if you trained in the morning. Here are those examples again. 4 ounces of chicken breast, 1/2 sweet potato mashed with cinnamon, any veggies, chicken or beef stir fry made with veggies and quinoa, grass-fed ground beef chili with kidney beans. The important piece of this meal is the carbohydrates. Don't let this scare you. It will take some getting used to, but this is critical, if you have strength trained that day. Here you want to stay away from all things wheat, gluten and whole grain. We are going against the grain, pun intended, here because most of what you've learned is that whole grain is better. It's actually not in this plan because you want to get your carb sources from fast digesting carbs, as this is in your post-workout window. Slow digesting carbs like whole grain sources will keep your insulin levels elevated too long and will slow down the fat burning process. Wheat and gluten sources have also been shown to increase inflammation, which is something that we're trying to control with their hormone regulation that I spoke about in the earlier chapter. Here are some good carbohydrate sources: interpunk, sweet potato, yams, red potato, white potato, russet or Yukon gold potato, beets, squash, pumpkin, white rice, jasmine rice. All of this should commence in a 2 to 3 hour window at night. If you are coming off a conditioning day or an off day, you simply want to cut the carbohydrates out of this dinner. In this case you can up the servings of protein and also add in a tablespoon of all natural nut butter, peanut, almond, cashew, whatever you like, to take care of the extra calories. The great thing about this nutrition plan is that you don't have to be obsessed with counting calories. It's a very freeing way to live and to eat. Obviously, if you are overeating every day you will get fat, so we want to have a baseline so that you can adhere to in order to be sure you're getting enough of your macronutrients and your calories are in check for your desired body fat. Here is a recap. Morning strength training days, #1, P plus C #2, P plus C #3, P plus F #4, P plus F. Evening strength training days, #1, P plus F #2, P plus F #3, P plus C #4, P plus C. Off days or conditioning days, #1, P plus C #2, P plus F #3, P plus F #4, P plus F. How much to eat? Even though the badass body plan is a freeing lifestyle, I want you to have a starting point. In this section you will be able to calculate your caloric intake as well as your protein, carbohydrates and fat. Use this as a jumping off point, but as you get into the daily routine of this nutrition plan you can really just ballpark things in your head. 1 gram of protein equals 4 calories, 1 gram of carbohydrates equals 4 calories, 1 gram of fat equals 9 calories. Calorie counter. Current body fat 6 to 12%, 12.1 to 15%, 15.1 to 19%, 19.1 to 22%, 22.1% or above. Calories 17 calories / pound of LBM, 16 calories / pound of LBM, 15 calories / pound of LBM, 14 calories / pound of LBM, 13 calories / pound of LBM. To use this chart you'll need to find out your body fat percentage. You can get that done by a qualified fitness professional using calipers. Do not rely on an electric bathroom scale or the handheld devices, as the results can fluctuate from day to day depending on your hydration levels. Once you have your body fat percentage, multiply your weight by that percentage, then subtract that number from your weight to find out your lean mass and use that number to determine your calories. This will give you a starting maintenance point for your calories. If you are looking to drop some body fat you will want to adjust your calories a bit, dropping them by about 250 especially on conditioning and off days. Once you start developing more lean tissue you will have to up your calories again to support your metabolism, so play around with this. Start by taking your temperature for 3 days as I discussed in the earlier section when you begin the program. Do this a few months into it as well and adjust your calories from there. If your temperature is below 97 consistently you'll want to up your calories back to the baseline point. Do not get too wrapped up in the calorie numbers because your body is going to fluctuate. I just want to give you a starting point because most people grossly overestimate the number of calories that they need and then they never see results. Once you have your numbers you will start plugging food into those areas that fit the criteria. Then you will begin to develop a lifestyle and you won't have to sit there and check labels because you'll become very familiar with how things fit into the equation. Protein intake. Daily protein intake is crucial for lean tissue development and to help you meet your overall nutrient requirements. This is a pretty simple calculation as we're going to want a lot of protein. Don't believe the hype that your body can only digest a certain amount of protein at a time. Every day you want to shoot for 1 gram of protein per pound of lean body mass. So if you weigh 140 and using the calculations above you have 18% body fat, that would give you 25 pounds of body fat. Subtract 25 from 140 for your lean tissue total of 115. Your protein intake should be around 115 grams. If you are still feeling hungry after a few weeks on this you can bump up the protein to 1.5 grams per pound of LBM. Carbohydrate intake. I now am hoping that you are over your fear of carbohydrates. In this plan carbs are not your enemy because you will be timing them specifically for the maximum benefit and they'll be working for you to improve your training sessions and burn fat at the end of the day. It's also important to remember that on your conditioning or off days you will want your carbohydrates very low. This will help to improve your insulin sensitivity and also create a deficit so that your body continues to burn fat in addition to all of the other tactics you're using. On your strength training days you can have more carbohydrates, but be sure that they all fall into post-workout shake and in your meal after the training session. Off days or conditioning days, carbohydrates should be below 20 to 30 grams. Strength training days, start with carbohydrates at 75 grams per pound of lean body mass. This will help you assess your sensitivity to the carbs. If you feel great losing fat and your energy is high, then stick with it or bump it up to 1 gram per pound of LBM. A good test is that after your carb meals, if you are looking lean in the morning and not puffy and bloated, then you're right on target with the carb intake. If you are feeling sluggish and puffy, drop the carbs to 5 grams per pound of LBM, but give this some time. Don't fear the carbs right away. Fat intake. Your fat intake will make up the remainder of the daily intake, so here you'll have to do a bit of calculations, but again, I want to reiterate that this is a jumping off point, so once you have the calculations you are done. You won't have to count numbers day in and day out. Take your lean body mass number that you found above, subtract 150 to get the number of calories you need for fat loss. Take your protein intake number, 1 gram extra LBM. Take your carbohydrate number, 75 grams extra LBM, add the protein number and carbohydrate number together and multiply by 4. Subtract that number from your fat loss calories interpunct. This is how many fat calories you need interpunct. Divide this number by 9. This will give you your fat calories interpunct. This is what your daily intake would be for a strength training day, because you're bumping up your carbs. On your off days or conditioning days your carbs will be lower, thus the fat intake will be higher. To figure out your fat intake for those days, simply use the same equation above but replace the 75 with 25 for your carbohydrate calculation. If we are using the 140-pound, 18% body fat example, per strength day would look like this: 1,460 calories, 114 grams of protein, 85 grams of carbohydrates, 73 grams of fat. Then her conditioning or off days would look like this: 1,260 calories, 114 grams of protein, 20 to 30 grams of carbohydrates, 100 grams of fat. Cheat days and why they work. This could quite possibly be the coolest part of this book. In a nutrition plan you get a cheat day. Yes, that means eating whatever you want and not feeling guilty about it, plus losing fat along the way. The first thing I will say about the cheat day is that you have to earn it. If your body fat percentage is over 25%, then you need to stick with 1 to 2 cheat meals each week. That means a little splurge at dinner or ice cream once a week. The leaner that you are, the more you can cheat and the better it will work. Now you may be wondering, why in the heck am I getting a cheat day when I'm trying to lose body fat? Well, this is the most fabulous part of the program. The cheat day actually helps you to burn fat and get lean. Why does this cheat thing work? There is actually a ton of science behind this, and if you ever want to read any studies about leptin levels and hormone regulation, just let me know. I can pass them on to you. You probably don't, so I'll just give you the skinny on why it works for you. This is all about leptin. Leptin is a hormone found in the blood and produced by and released from fat cells. It's basically in charge of your starvation status. In a perfect world there is abundant amounts of leptin and the brain receives messages that everything is normal and tells you that you are full. When someone is very thin or not taking in enough food, also known as a diet, leptin levels are low. Leptin is directly related to the amount of body fat that you have. The reason this becomes important is because when you diet, you typically lose fat. This causes the leptin levels to decrease, and here's what happens: less fat equals less leptin. Less leptin equals red flag message to the brain. The same correlation between body fat and leptin levels happens with leptin and the amount of food that you take in. Studies are new finding that even if people are overweight or over fat and they are taking in a low amount of food, their leptin levels are going to be low as well. Calorie restriction equals low leptin levels. Low leptin levels equals red flag message to the brain. Now what is this red flag message? After the brain gets this message, it will send out some signals to the rest of the body. These can be kind of unfortunate for people who are trying to diet. 1. Levels of thyroid hormones significantly decline. These play a huge role in metabolism and energy. 2. Overall metabolic rate and energy expenditure drop very low in order to preserve fat mass. 3. Serum cortisol, a stress hormone that is largely responsible for belly fat storage, will skyrocket. 4. The concentration of ghrelin increases. Ghrelin is an appetite-regulating hormone produced in the stomach. Basically, this triggers hunger and cravings. Leptin is a pretty tricky hormone that controls a lot of things. The long and short of it is that when calories drop over a period of time, the body basically works against itself, making it almost impossible to lose fat and not crave tons of food. How does the cheat day help this, you ask? After days of low leptin levels, this cheat day allows for an increase in overall leptin, which actually speeds up your metabolism. All of those negative factors that go along with low leptin levels are reversed, and we are basically resetting the body and allowing optimal fat-burning potential to occur again. Cheat days also allow you to let go and enjoy some great food without feeling guilty. Instead of binging during the week and then falling off the wagon, this is a built-in piece of the puzzle that actually increases fat-burning results. Basic rules for the cheat day. 1. Have a 16-hour fast the night and morning before. 2. Drink plenty of water to counteract all of the sugar consumed. 3. Eat whatever you want for an 8-hour period. Ideally from 12 to 8 p.m. It's much easier to eat somewhat healthy and then cheat, instead of the other way around. 4. Avoid alcohol on your cheat day. This will counteract what we're trying to do and can actually slow your metabolic rate. 5. Eat whatever you want without getting to the point of feeling totally sick. Enjoy yourself. 6. Don't have the cheat foods in the house until the day of your cheat day. 7. If there are any leftovers from the cheat day, throw them out. 8. Get right back on the wagon the next day, no feeling guilty. This is helping you burn fat. How do you really kick up the fat-burning potential and get even leaner? Follow your cheat day with the full 24 to 36-hour fast. The best thing to do is have your cheat day on a Sunday and then follow that up with the full fast on Monday, which for most people is their busiest day of the week. If you can take your mind off the lack of food initially, the fast gets much easier. Make sure you are not just sitting around the house being bored. I used to have my cheat days on Saturdays, and then Sundays were straight up brutal because I would train in the morning and then be bored all day just thinking about food. The longer fast has the same effect as the 16-hour fasts that you will be doing each night/morning during the week, except it turns it into overdrive. Start out with 24 hours and then build yourself up 1 to 2 hours each week. Many women fear that their hunger will be out of control during a fast that lasts that long. The thing about hunger is that it comes in waves. You won't be 24 times as hungry as you were at the beginning. Instead, you'll be experiencing small waves of hunger that you can simply get through by staying busy and drinking lots of water. Typically, women will feel a wave of hunger after their training session, during the middle of the day, and then as you get to around the 20-hour mark. The amazing thing is that when you get to the tail end of the fast, you will probably feel like you could go a few more hours. Remember, during this fast period your body is using fat as its fuel source. You'll likely experience some bloating from your cheat day, but that will clear up in about 1 day. Supplements. I get a lot of questions about supplements from my clients and friends. My take is pretty simple. There are a lot of crappy products out there that make false claims. It's tough to decipher which ones are actually going to help you with your ultimate goal of losing fat, so it's best to keep it basic. If you are taking in quality foods in a balanced manner, then supplements can be kept to a minimum. Here is what I take on a daily basis. Interpunct black coffee. I do consider caffeine a supplement. Daily fish oil, daily multivitamin post-workout shake. This is used post-strength training only. Daily greens drink. That may look like a lot to you if you haven't had any experience in this area, but it's really quite simple. I take my coffee in the morning first thing. I break my fast with my greens drink and then my post-workout shake and multivitamin, and then at my later meals I have a serving of fish oil with each one. Sure, you have to get into the habit of remembering the pills, but other than that, it's quite simple. Here are the benefits of each one. Prograde Workout Post-Workout Shake. Interpunct workout is the ideal formulation of fast-acting proteins and carbohydrates to support stimulate lean muscle mass and recovery. Interpunct. This takes all the guesswork out of what to put into your shake, what to eat and how much to eat. Interpunct Simple. Mix 2 scoops of this with water, shake it up and drink it about 30 minutes after you train to break your fast and kickstart that fat loss for the entire day. Prograde EF icon. Essential fatty acid equals fish oil, to name just a few of the fat-burning and health benefits these wonder fats possess. Omega-3 fatty acids have been shown to decrease their risk for developing heart disease and cancer, decrease blood pressure, improve liver and kidney function, reduce joint pain, improve vision, improve diabetic conditions, decrease occurrences and intensities of migraine headaches, increase circulating levels of leptin, reduce stress, and increase metabolic rate. Here are just some of the other benefits. Interpunct skin health, interpunct hair appearance, interpunct nail strength, interpunct teeth hardness, interpunct brain function, interpunct fat loss, interpunct insulin sensitivity. You have probably seen fish oil supplements in most stores. You can get them at the local CVS or grocery store, and that's okay, but the important thing to remember is that fish oil needs to be taken in fairly high doses, and what you'll get from Prograde is the best. It's high-potency krill oil, and the other great thing is it don't taste or smell like fish like some of the other brands. Prograde Multivitamin. A multivitamin is like your insurance policy. It will provide all the essential daily stuff that you may be getting with your foods, but just in higher doses. Again, you can get these at your local store, but most products are made with synthetic coating and a lot of other fillers and junk that your body don't need. You want to make sure it's all natural and a high dose of all the important nutrients. Prograde Genesis Greens Drink. Just like the multivitamin, the Greens Drink provides you with an extra punch of really healthy ingredients. With Genesis you'll get about 12 servings of fruits and vegetables in just one glass. I have a glass of this to break my fast every day, and it gives me a nice shot of energy. Most greens drinks taste 100% awful, so most people take them for a few days and then toss them. I've done that with countless brands, but Prograde has kept me hooked. Their Genesis tastes like lemon/lime and with a hint of mint. It tastes really good, and not just compared to other greens. Here is where you can get all of these items in one place. The cool thing about Prograde is that you can get everything on an auto ship right to your door every month. You get free shipping that way, and you save on each order. This is great because you will go through these supplements quickly. The thing I want you to remember is that these aren't extra things you need to buy. These are essential to your results, and this particular company has been the best in terms of quality and results. The money you are spending here is money you would be spending on extra food, but with your intermittent fasting schedule you'll be buying less food. Give these a try, and for your first order I've hooked you up with a 15% off coupon. When you get to the checkout, just type in COLLY15 and you'll be good to go. Shopping lists. Grocery shopping is often one of the biggest obstacles that women face when they embark on their fat loss plan. It seems like a simple task: go to the store and buy food, but there are many questions about what to buy, and there's the ever-lurking temptation of the ice cream, cookies and candy. The key to grocery shopping is planning. You need to take a few minutes each week to plan out what you are going to eat and when you are going to eat it. With this plan it becomes very, very simple, and then you need to plan out what you're going to buy in order to prep those meals and snacks. You'll notice a trend in what you buy as soon as you begin the plan, and you'll also start spending a lot less on food because you're not eating 5 to 6 times per day. Eating 3 times throughout the day with one of those often being a post-workout shake, you'll go through a lot less food. Here is what you will be buying. Use anything from this list when planning your meals. Make sure you get one protein source for each day for your larger nighttime meal. Proteins: interpunct salmon, interpunct swordfish, interpunct tuna, canned in water, interpunct tuna steak, interpunct halibut, interpunct mackerel, interpunct mahi-mahi, interpunct crab, interpunct lobster, interpunct chicken, skinless, free-range, interpunct turkey breast, not deli meat, interpunct ground turkey, extra lean, interpunct buffalo meat, interpunct flank steak, interpunct filet mignon, interpunct extra lean ground beef, grass-fed, 93% lean, interpunct pork loin fats, interpunct canola oil, interpunct coconut oil, interpunct coconut milk, from a can, full fat and unsweetened, interpunct extra virgin olive oil, interpunct avocado, pumpkin seeds, almonds, cashews, macadamia nuts, pecan, walnuts, peanuts, all natural nut butters, peanut, sunflower, almond, pecan, cashew, heavy cream. Carbohydrates: remember, these are to be eaten in the post-workout or evening window when we are going against the norm a bit to shy away from gluten products and any slow-absorbing, complex carbs. Interpunct beets, sweet potatoes, red potatoes, yams, white rice, green apples, blackberries, blueberries, raspberries, strawberries, grapes. Vegetables: reminder, these are free to eat at any time and the goal is to eat green vegetables with every meal. I'll show you how this can be done even for your shakes. Interpunct mixed greens: spinach, asparagus, broccoli, green beans, snap peas, cucumber, celery, mushrooms, eggplant, bell peppers, all colors, romaine lettuce, best if mixed with darker lettuce in the salad, carrots. Beverages: interpunct coffee, tea, water, sparkling water. Condiments and extras: interpunct balsamic vinegar, interpunct apple cider vinegar, interpunct cayenne pepper, interpunct garlic, interpunct herbs and spices, any, interpunct mustard, interpunct salsa, interpunct ketchup, interpunct BBQ sauce, interpunct salad dressing, balsamic vinaigrette or Italian. What I do personally. Training has always been a staple in my life, but nutrition has been something I've always had to work on and experiment with. Once I found the intermittent fasting protocol and was able to create this program that worked wonders for me, I had to share it with you. I have to work really hard to lose fat. My body is naturally muscular but not super lean, so I have to really dial in my nutrition. I store all, and I mean all, of my body fat in my abdominal area. My schedule allows me to train whenever I want, and right now training in between 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. works well. I strength train 3 to 4 days per week, and that can vary depending on the time of year. There is typically one heavy day, to metabolic style lifting days with full body training, and one day with kettlebells, battling ropes and odd objects. There will be 2 conditioning days consisting of stadium sprints, hill sprints, bike sprints or sprints at the track near my home. Here is a sample day for me. On the mornings I train groups at the gym in the early morning. These are strength training days. 5 a.m. wake up and 1 black coffee, water. 8 a.m. train, 9 a.m. post-workout shake, 12 p.m. P+C snack, 3 p.m. P+F meal, lunch, 6:30 p.m. P+F meal, dinner. Here is a sample day that I don't train or simply do yoga. These are often later days for me as I work from home or it's a weekend. 6:30 wake up and 1 to 2 black coffees, water. 10 a.m. yoga, 11 a.m. P+C meal, protein shake with fruit, 2 p.m. P+F meal, lunch, 4:30 p.m. P+F snack, protein shake and fish oil, 6:30 p.m. P+F meal, dinner. Training. Creating a training plan is something that will be way beyond the scope of this book, but it's an important component, so I want to give you some frameworks. The most important thing is that you need to go against everything you read in the magazines or watch on TV. You will not get ripped, lean and totally badass by doing cardio and lifting tiny weights for high reps. You may burn some calories along the way, but it won't effectively support the nutrition and lifestyle that you're leading now. Your training should consist of 3 to 4 days per week of full body strength training utilizing heavy lifts as your primary work. You can set these up into supersets, perform one exercise and then move right into the next with minimal rest, or you can set them up in a circuit format with a bit of rest in between each exercise. For each training session you want one of the following lower body lifts: interpunct, back squat, front squat, dumbbell squat, holding them at your sides, goblet squat, kettlebell lower decibel, barbell deadlift, sumo or traditional, kettlebell deadlift, a kb at each side. For each session you want 1 to 2 of the following upper body lifts: interpunct, push-ups, chin-ups or pull-ups, assisted if needed, inverted rows, bar, rings or TRX, barbell overhead press, decibel overhead press, barbell bench press, decibel bench press, incline or flat. For each session you then want to pick an accessory lower body movement. This is a great time to choose a single leg movement or something a bit more dynamic. Interpunct, KB swing, KB snatch, KB clean and press, single leg deadlift variations, decibel, BB, KB, single leg squat, lateral lunges. Interpunct walking lunges. Interpunct reverse lunges include some core work. Choose one of these for each session. Interpunct, plank variations, valve slide, body saws, physio ball, ab rollouts, power wheel or ab wheel rollouts or walks, hand walkout, spike ups, power wheel, physio ball, TRX abducts. Here are some other great movements to include: interpunct, sandbag work, load up carries, KABS, kegs, farmer's handles, battling ropes, prowler sprints, Turkish get-ups. Here's a sample strength workout. A1. Barbell front squat 5 times 582. Chin-ups. Perform 5 sets of submaximal effort on each one. Leave 1 rep in the tank on each set. Use assistance if needed. B1. Decibel walking lunges 3 times 24 steps. B2. Barbell overhead press 3 times 10 C1. TRX abduct 3 times 10 C2. KB farmers carry 3X, use as much distance as you have, go heavy, C3. Battling ropes 3 times 30 seconds. For your conditioning workouts you want to focus on intensity and a shorter duration. This goes against what most women are taught, but remember, we're going against the norm here for your lean and dripped body. Your conditioning sessions should not last any longer than 30 minutes. Perform these sessions 1 to 2 times per week. Here are your choices: interpunct, hill sprint, stadium stair sprints, track sprints, bike sprints, prowler sprints, tire flips, if you have access. Hill sprints are a great place to start as they reduce the load on your body and there's less instance for injury when building up your strength. They're incredible as you get stronger as well. If you have access to a stadium, the sprints here are similar to a hill sprint but even more dynamic. Here's a sample hill sprint workout. Interpunct, find a hill that's 50 to 80 yards in length, sprint up as fast as possible, walk down and rest for 60 to 90 seconds at the bottom, repeat for 8 to 12 repetitions depending on your conditioning level. Here's a sample stadium sprint workout. Interpunct, the stadium should be at least 20 large steps up to the top. Interpunct, sprint up as fast as possible. Interpunct, walk down and sprint up as soon as you get to the bottom. Interpunct, repeat this for 4 sprints. Interpunct, rest for 2 to 3 minutes. Interpunct, repeat for 2 more rounds for a total of 12 sprints. Bike sprints can be done in the gym or in your home. Here's a sample bike sprint workout. Interpunct, 3-minute warm-up. Ride interpunct, set the bike to a moderate to high resistance. Make sure you can sprint hard. Interpunct, sprint for 20 seconds. Interpunct, drop the resistance to the lowest level and recover for 40 seconds. Interpunct, repeat the cycle for 10 sets. Interpunct, 3-minute cool-down ride with no resistance. Track sprints are another great way to get ripped and lean. Here's a sample. Interpunct, 100-meter sprint x4. Rest 60 to 90 seconds between sprints. Interpunct, 60-meter sprints x5. Rest 60 seconds between sprints, interpunct 40-meter sprint x6, rest 45 seconds between sprints. Your weekly schedule should consist of 3 to 4 days per week of full-body strength work and 1 to 2 days of high-intensity conditioning. Focus on lifting heavy and hard with perfect form and going hard and intense on your conditioning sets with plenty of recovery between sets. It's not cardio, so you want to be fresh for each set and have the ability to go 100% effort with your speed. Quick Start Guide. Here's exactly what you need to do to get started on the badass body lifestyle plan right away. Be sure to read every section of this book to get the concepts down and start planning your new lifestyle. I know there is an overload of new information, so once you're done reading, come back to this section and use this simple checklist to get rocking. 1. Take your temperature 3 days in a row in the mid-afternoon. If it's below 98.1 consistently, you've got some work to do to fix your metabolism, so increase your calories by 300 for at least a week to recharge your metabolism and then get started. 2. Get your body fat percentage calculated and use the numbers provided to find your daily intake for macronutrients. 3. Take a before photo and a waist measurement. 4. Plan your weekly food and then make a shopping list using the one provided as a guide. 5. Start skipping breakfast. 6. Drink only black coffee and water in the morning hours. 7. Fast for 16 hours, from your last meal that night until the next morning, typically 11 to 7 or 12 to 8. 8. Combine either P plus C or P plus F depending on the time of day and when you trained. Frequently asked questions. 1. Do green vegetables count toward my daily carbs? Green vegetables do not count toward your daily carbohydrate total. The more green veggies, the better each day. 2. Why am I not doing more cardio? Cardio is not the most efficient way to train for fat loss. In this system you will be lifting heavy and hard and your conditioning workouts will be 100% effort, eliciting a boost in your metabolism and ensuring that your cortisol levels are not increased. 3. Aren't I going to get fat if I consume that much fat each day? Fat is not the enemy with this system. Carbohydrates are the macronutrient that spike your insulin levels, so they need to be timed correctly. As long as you are not going too far over your fat intake each day, your body is learning to use fat as fuel during your lower carb portions of the day. 4. Can I cut carbs lower to lose fat faster? You could, but you would eventually end up with pretty low energy levels and not a lot of strength for your training sessions. Timing your carbohydrates for post-workout and later in the evening is the key to this program. 5. What if I'm starving in the morning but I still need to fast 3 to 4 more hours? What do I do? During the first 1 to 2 weeks of your introduction to if you will feel hungry in the morning. This is because your body is used to eating first thing. Eventually this habit will be broken and you'll feel totally fine in the morning. Have a cup of black coffee to curb the hunger and to also kickstart the fat burning process. 6. How do I know how much to eat every day? Use the formats provided in this book to get a ballpark number for your calories and macronutrients. Don't become married to this number because it will be ever-changing, especially as you become leaner and need to take in more calories. Just get within 5% of this every day and you'll be fine. As for what to eat, you'll need to experiment with different foods to see what works for you. I can't tell you exactly what to eat at what times, but just use the frameworks. 7. How long will it take for me to see results? If all of your training and eating is on point, you should see results in just a few weeks. You'll notice your strength increasing during your training and you should start to see some nice cutting of your abs and arms. 7. Am I going to feel bloated if I eat my carbs at night? As long as you don't overdo the carbs, you should actually wake up looking leaner and tighter. Stay away from gluten as wheat sources of carbs though. 8. Should I have a post-workout shake after I do my high-intensity conditioning sprints? You don't need the carb-based post-workout shake after a conditioning workout. Make this just a regular day and break your fast with a lower carb shake at your scheduled time. 9. Should I do any running to enhance my results? No. Focus on higher intensity activities like sprints, hill sprints and bike sprints. These will burn more calories, spike up your metabolism and get you much more efficient results. 10. What supplements should I be taking? Protein powder, post-workout shake, Prograde Genesis, EFA, daily vitamin, and in addition I always recommend some raw maca for your shakes. Quick Start Checklist. Use this Quick Start Checklist to ensure that you're ready to rock. 1. Get your body fat measurements done, either by a fitness professional using a caliper measurement or better yet, find a facility that has a bod machine. Search your local area as many colleges have them. 2. Measure your waist, hips and thighs. 3. Take a before photo from the front and side in just shorts and a sports bra. 4. Order your supplements from Prograde. 5. Print out the shopping list and make a list of what you will be preparing for your first week. 6. Get your weekly training plan in order using the frameworks provided in this book. 7. Establish your support system. Get friends, family members and boyfriends or husbands on board with your goals. And if you really want to up the stakes, put your photos on Facebook along with the deadline for your success. About the author, Collie Durbrow is a fitness professional and personal trainer based in Cambridge, Massachusetts. She is the owner of Durbrow Performance Training and has spent over 9 years helping women get lean, ripped and badass while enjoying training and food. For more information and fitness tips, contact Collie through her blog at http://www.ultimateathleticfitness.com or on Twitter Collie Durbrow.